George, this is interesting because at the very beginning of all of these conversations, as we saw things starting to morph, because, I mean, August 2022 is the same as now. Politics had already started taking center stage when the new administration came into. And what people told us is that the agenda and its slogans were there. Ruto must go. That was the agenda. That seems to have changed now. The agenda seems to be morphing to, I also want a piece of the pie. You've more or less said it just now. Caleb Amisi said, no, this is not what we wanted. So let us now register our party alone. Others have said, I'm not going to run. Then suddenly you find yourself running. Those who've been impeached are coming back and saying, I control. So if you want anything, you have to talk to me. But this is my candidate. Somebody else says we're going to work together, but I want to be what happened to the original idea whereby good governance and proper leadership for the security of the livelihoods of the people of Kenya, according to the Constitution, was going to be the main agenda? Where did that go?
The thing is, I think you've not had the chronology that I gave you.
I did. I heard very well, but my question remains. Where did the original idea go? Because nobody's talking about it now. Have you heard in this conversation that we've had this morning? We're talking about the people of Kenya to ensure that where they're going in the future is going to be secured. And that it was clear in the minds of people that the way things are currently cannot continue. But now, even in this last 1.5 hours, what have we heard? That, there's infiltration, there might be somebody paying another person. We don't know if the people who are joining are with us or not with us. And we also...
the original, you're saying the original reason, the original agenda as to why we created whatever formation that we did. And that even as she talked about Linda, before that we had Kenya Moja. It hasn't changed. It's our belief, and my personal belief, that unless we change the quality of the leaders that we have currently, and not be forced into compromise, as she's saying, that yes, while we might want a fresh team, but the reality of beating the president, that's the argument, isn't it? The reality of beating President William Ruto is that we must coalesce as a position, which we agree.
Yes.
But we have said if that is to happen, then we must still remain on course as to what the original intention is, which is to deliver generational change in the country. And we did not create a party after Linda and these things you're talking about.
It doesn't matter when it happened.
Because you're trying to allude to that, saying that we don't
I'm not alluding. I'm very clear.
I
if there's anything, I'm extremely clear.
I think Doi is asking a different question. She's asking why we have departed from the interest of Kenyans. The delivery of services to Kenyans, power with the people towards kingpins and splitting and getting a piece of the cake and everything. And the truth is we have departed. But I have been raising an alarm in this studio continuously, saying Gen Z managed to take us away from the place where we were discussing individuals and their fiefdoms towards a place where we were discussing every individual based on how they deliver for Kenyans.
Yes.
The status quo panicked. They panicked, and so they had to reorganize quickly. In this situation, I actually contend that every one of the actors in our society right now, including Rigiji himself, who also participated in the process of trying to take us back to the place where we start discussing fiefdoms instead of discussing the interests of Kenyans. And so now they have brought us to a place where even Gen Z themselves are discussing a kingpin before they discuss the interests of Kenyans. Is it possible to transform that? Yes, it is. If it was done once, it can be done again. But the truth is we have departed from that place. And maybe what we were saying even at the beginning of this show is that we need to move from kingpins. That's why I'm saying tell people to get out of the bus and go back to discussing the interests of Kenyans and what they deliver for you. That's number one. And if we are not careful, the resources they're investing in making sure that we don't discuss our interests and we discuss fiefdoms and whatever other spaces they want to discuss is a lot. And therefore, if we do not invest our own resources in pulling this conversation towards our interests, we will reach the next election discussing kingpin, Luo kingpin, Kikuyu kingpin, whatever kingpin, and one term and two term, which are nonsense if you ask me. The main issue should be who is going to redeem this nation from where we find ourselves now. Number two is that you cannot separate the political careers of politicians from the politics that they carry. At the end of the day, their politics is for survival. If the market demands fiefdoms, They will be discussing kingpin and mutuetu and all that. If the market demands accountability, you saw for a period of time during the first round of Gen Z protests in your studios, everyone was coming in talking about Kenyans and what Kenyans want. Kenyans and what Kenyans want. So it's possible to get the politicians to talk about the right things. The demand side is what should increase. Every Kenyan should insist that every candidate tells them what they're going to do for them. And I was glad when they started asking, okay, sawa sisi ndio Sifuna, then what? Okay, you want to be our president, Maraga, what are you going to do for us? Okay, Matiang'i, you're saying you want to be our president. How about these sins and that sin that you committed? I was happy when we were having those conversations, and I wish we could quickly go back to that place, because when we do, it will become very easy for us to even to choose from outside who we want as a presidential candidate. Tell them, if you don't have this person as a presidential candidate, that we are not going to get on board. And the reason why we must do this is because as Kenyans, we are the ones who felt the pain of what we have had to deal with. These politicians can regroup, organize themselves, figure out a way of surviving without us. So we must make decisions that are going to serve our interests. But number two, and most important, I've sat right here suggesting that we have a people's electoral college. When I was suggesting it, I actually just thought we were going to use it to choose who becomes our MCA, MP, whatever. But I realize now, more than ever, that we're going to need that people's electoral college, because if you have united opposition and Linda Mwananchi plus any other initiative that is going to arise as a result of the transitions that are happening right now, we may need a space where the people again get to choose. That space is not an NDC, because these things are no longer happening in political parties. That space is a different space, and that space must be held. I hate to admit that Baba may have seen this far when he says we need a conclave. Because if this is what we are carrying into the next election, it basically means we can't have... The NDCs will choose who becomes the Wiper candidate, who becomes the ODM candidate, who becomes UDA. But then at the end of the day, when you get out here, we have to figure out, how do we choose this one person? Do we allow people to close the door and come back and tell us tumechagua huyu? Or are we saying we want a stake in it? And I think we must demand a stake in it. After we demand a stake in it, they should not be chosen based on their tribe. They should be chosen based on what they're going to do for Kenyans. If you choose based on your tribe, just rest assured that you're playing in the hands of the status quo. Money was poured. Time was spent to strategize, to ensure that you stop discussing accountability, stop discussing the interests of Kenyans, stop discussing what Kenyans need, and start discussing Mrima, and Luo Kingpin, and Western Kenya, Munduefwe, and Coast, and the fact that the time for Coast has come. I'm telling you, we must be very careful in these conversations that we're having as we go towards the next election. The truth is that the people who have led Kenya to where we are today prefer to go to the elections with tribes as the key for the votes. The people who actually care about democracy prefer to go to the elections with political parties, with philosophies, strong philosophies, as a vehicle for delivery of leadership. If we truly, truly cared about democracy, ODM should not have been a party that is dying right now. The man who is in power does not care about democracy. And that is why he allowed a party that has grown for 20 years, had the kind of tenets that it has, to just disappear. Because he wanted to make